Hi, this is Jody. I am doing a full moon reading, a full moon card reading for July 2017. The full moon is going to be in Capricorn, and this is considered the buck moon. This is a really intense, well, I feel like I say that every month. The energies this month are really powerful in that we are coming up with the moon. So let's see, the moon and sun are in opposition, as always on the full moon. And then Mars and Pluto are also in opposition. And so this can create a dynamic of power struggle. With the Pluto influence being very heavy, there is probably still a lot of shadow work that gets to happen. This is a common thing that's been happening over the last couple of months. We had the Scorpio full moon. Scorpio is the shadow of the zodiac. And then we had Sagittarius transitioning through that death, exploring the afterlife of that death. And now we're moving into Capricorn, which is the structure. The theme this month is definitely around like the structures and the architecture and the systems that are in place in your life that are going to support this new birth moving forward as we continue through this full moon journey. Next month we'll be in Aquarius, and that's a very expansive humanitarian energy. But right now we're in Capricorn, and there's a lot that can come up right now. Pluto and Mars are going to challenge what we already have in place. And if what we have in place, if the systems and the structures and the rhythms and routines that we have in place are founded in ego, then we're going to be challenged really greatly. If there is a sense of going out into the world to get what you want in a self-serving way, then that's going to be met with a lot of opposition. And again, that's going to be really challenging. So let's see what the cards have to say at this point. It's interesting to me that so many of the same cards will come up over and over again. Like, we don't complete, especially these major arcana cards, we don't complete these lessons in one moon cycle, but they shift space. So at the core of what we have going on here, at the center of everything that's happening, we are looking at doing a lot of forgiveness work. With the Pluto energy coming up and looking at our systems and structures, oftentimes when we're ruled by our amygdala or our fight or flight response, or ruled by the lower chakras, and we haven't done the integrative work of the shadow, then the systems and structures that we have in place are reactionary. They are in reaction to some trauma, some event, something that happened that made us feel hurt, unsafe, scared, something that didn't feel good to us in some way or another, something that we hold judgment around, an event in our lives that we hold judgment around. And so right now we're being asked to really come out of our judgment and rise above it. And we do this through forgiveness. And this forgiveness is going to come in through our feminine side, a very grounded feminine energy, which is Capricorn. So this grounded feminine energy is going to ask us to surrender the judgments that we have, and let go of them and see how they've served us and thank them for that, but then forgive and move on and come into the tenderness of our hearts. In the mental realm, we are still going through big changes. The tower came up last month and it is here again. We are shifting big, but we're shifting big to create space for our bliss. We know what the goal is. We see it in sight. We know that if we can just forgive whatever this hurt and this pain was, that we can attain harmony and bliss and radiance and emotional fulfillment. So I know for me personally, I get to do a lot of inner child healing over the weekend. On a collective scale, I think this is more about the divine feminine energy. And being able to go inward, go deep inside of ourselves, and which is the feminine aspect, right? Going into the dark shadows and the mysteries of ourselves to find the light and bring it back up. So mentally, we get to take this journey down from our minds down to our hearts and even lower into our bellies, and really dig into what is still there for us, what we're holding on to, the pains that we haven't let go of, the pains we've been afraid to face. Because we do want the harmony and we do want the bliss, and there's also a lot of worry around that. Worry that if we let go of the systems and structures that we have in place that have kept us safe for so long, then how are we going to be able to safeguard what is there for us and what's ours? But again, the journey is from the head to the heart, and our heart really knows how to keep us truly safe. Not safe and guarded behind walls, but out in the open and able to be seen and able to be heard and connected, being able to have that connection with other people, which is what truly feels safe, right? That's what true love and safety is, and that's truly what's going to subside all of our worry. So that's the space we're in a spiritual sense. In our physical ground, look around for your teachers, whether that's you in your own lessons, whether these are friends and reflections, whether they are the people that challenge you the most in your life, your family, the people that maybe you have to interact with even though you don't want to. So this could be coworkers or ex-partners that are still in your space. This could be an actual spiritual teacher of yours or a life coach who just holds the mirror right to your face and makes you look at your devils, right? Makes you face your demons. That's what's happening in the physical realm right now, is we're stepping into these relationships with people, and we get to really face our own demons through the mirror of the relationships. They may be triggering something in you, and again, you can go back to this judgment. Anywhere that you're judging someone or judging something, first of all, you've taken yourself out of a spiritual space, and second of all, it's because you have something to look at within yourself. So that's the devil in the details, right? The devil's in the detail of your judgment. And so allow the devil to be your teacher. Allow the devil to, the annoyances, the disturbances, the things that you're judging that are coming up, allow those things to guide you to where you need to go. If there's resistance, you probably need to push into that. And know that you're supported along your path, right? So reach out to people. Be willing to be vulnerable with what you're going through. Do it in safe ways. Connect and share these things with people who you know are going to love you unconditionally and hold your hand through the process. Maybe not hold your hand through the process, but like we'll have your back. Anyone who's ever shown you unconditional love, like those are the people you get to reach out to for support through this process, because it is a challenging process. It can be an arduous process, and because it's death and rebirth, so you're shedding by diving into these devils, by diving into your demons to face them and allow them to be teachers and healers for you, by following the judgment to see where it goes and reaching out to the people who are safe around you to share that experience. You're going to find that there is a collective ego death that's happening. You're not alone in this struggle. And oftentimes the person you feel the need to reach out to and talk to about this is going through something very similar that they can relate to. And it will be a relief to both of you to know that you're not going through it alone. And then in an emotional space, like this, I know this card came up for Scorpio. We are climbing the stairs, right? We're climbing the stairs towards our work, and we're so close, and we're so exhausted. And we get to keep galloping towards that higher vision. Because we really are almost there. There is a massive shift happening on the planet emotionally, physically, spiritually. Like, things are changing. We're waking up. The old generation is losing its power, and our generation is stepping up into it. And the difference between baby boomers and Gen Xers and millennials is like this progression of, I don't know, on one hand, like not caring about these old systems and structures and architectures of like climbing the chain to work your way up to be like a manager. Like our generation wants to be our own boss and be an entrepreneur and market and brand ourselves. But again, coming back to this community, we're stronger when we do it together. So while it's really good to know your own medicine and know what you have to offer the world, it's really important that we come hand in hand and come from a space of collaboration, not competition. Like, we're moving from a fear and lack mindset to an abundance mindset. There's a lot of people who are into abundance manifestation and the secret and law of attraction, and it's because we're realizing that there is enough. There are more than enough resources to go around for everyone, and no one has to suffer if we all adopt this mindset. And so we're putting in all this work to shift this. Like the younger generation, the millennials, we'll spend money on things that we know are of higher quality, that are green and more eco-friendly for the planet, that are more sustainable and more ethical. Those are things we value. And that's not necessarily what the older generations value. Maybe some of them are starting to open their eyes, but they're not the ones who thought like, oh, is this sustainable? Is this healthy for the planet? Is this good for all of us, So there's this shift that's happening, and we're starting to see that the changes are starting to materialize, and they're starting to become tangible. And so it is worth moving through the pain and the loss of the old structure to start creating the new structure. One thing I want to caution here is that in this chaos of the transition, and while we're like galloping forward and we're getting really tired because we've put in a lot of work and we're getting so close, it's like, don't lose focus. Right now is the time to get really clear on your intentions. Get really clear on the systems and the structures that we are building. What are we replacing the old with? Because we've seen this time and time again. We saw it in Egypt. We saw it in Iraq. We see it every time we go into war or we go into a space. America goes into a space. wipes out the system that's there, but doesn't give them anything to replace it with. So if we're trying to wipe out this old system, but we're not clear on the new system that we are implementing, we're going to fail. It's going to fail. It will create a vacuum, and we'll wind up worse off than we were with this current system. So we get to be really, really, really clear on what we value. What are we valuing? Where can we forgive ourselves? What's going to bring us bliss and harmony? How can we honor ourselves as the individual while striving for something greater as the collective? How can we serve everyone? How can we leave this mind space and come into our hearts? Because this is where service is. This is where connection is. And when we're connected, we're not in this egotistical me mind space, right? And so, yeah, that's just really the theme right now, is getting clear on what system we are creating as we're shifting through this transition, so that it can be a stable transition. That's something Capricorn really, really, really loves, is it's ruled by Saturn. Saturn is the planet of responsibility and stability and systems and structures and rules, and also tradition. So it's like, how can we take the parts of our traditions that serve us and honor us all and hold on to those pieces, because we don't want to just throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? We don't want to lose all the wisdom of the traditions that have been there. But we also get to discern through all of the bullshit. So we get to keep the gems, and we get to cut the rest and replace it with something new that's going to serve more than just ourselves. It's going to serve the greater good. And yeah, so just really, I'm going to leave it with that note of discernment, discerning what worked in our old system, what didn't, and then being really clear on our value system so that we can move forward creating a new structure. So this weekend, as the moon goes full, I recommend taking a space of response and not reaction. And then again, just getting really clear on what are your values, what do you want to see in the world, how deep within can you go to do the healing work so that you can bring that back out to the collective. What medicine are you ready to bring forward into the world, and how can you do that in a stable and structured way so that it's sustainable and so that it's beneficial and so that you can actually get your medicine across. Yeah. So that is my full moon in Capricorn tarot reading. And if you like what you saw, go ahead and subscribe. I would love that. And if you want a private tarot reading, I do offer them either in person if you're in Utah, and if not, I can definitely do them over Skype or Zoom. And you can go to my website, which is geminiandjasper.com, to look at my different service options. And you can contact me from there to book a reading. Thank you so much for tuning in. Mwah.